What's going on, Grizz Nation? Welcome into another Grizz Game Day update presented by Bally Sports Southeast. I'm Kelcey. I'm so thrilled to be joined by my friend in Orlando, Mackenzie Thirkill. How's it going?
It is good. It is game day. I am ready. I'm excited. It's going to be a long weekend for us. Game one of a back-to-back. So
game
ready
one of a
for it.
back-to-back, and it is an early tip today. So drink your coffee. Let's get going. For everyone watching from Memphis, it is a 4 o'clock tip. So have a late lunch. I don't know what you're going to do, but get ready. Mackenzie, this is kind of the battle of two young and really good cores. Obviously, if you're the Grizzlies, you know it's Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane. Ja Morant is questionable today. Dylan Brooks still out. You guys have a whole bunch of guys out. However, they've mostly been out for a while, so it's not really surprising. Cole Anthony has been on a tear.
He has. And it's really exciting because he got injured, obviously, in the middle of our season, and he's come back, and he is so quintessential to that starting unit, and he's really just like the commander on the floor. When he's out, our offensive rating takes a huge dip. So to have him back has been so big for us. And of course, only in his sophomore season, he's just made leaps and bounds and pretty much on all facets between his points per game, his rebounds, assists, and he's not a tall guy. So for the fact that he's contributing as much as he is, it's so big for us. And it's exciting to see because he's just an all around like good guy as well, which makes it that much easier to cheer for him.
Oh yeah, we've all seen his post-game interviews. Mo Bamba.
Yeah. Shout out to Dell.
Yeah. He seems just like so funny.
He is like, he's just totally himself too. And he's not really even like trying to be like a meme sensation, but he does it so effortlessly, which makes our jobs a lot easier, especially when we get wins and we get those post-game interviews, because those are kind of far and few in between for us currently. So we're always very excited for when we get a Cole Anthony interview.
I think the Grizzlies coming into this game though do have a bit of a like revenge mentality coming back into your arena. If you do remember, a buzzer beater. It was last season, but it was only like within the year, within the 12 months, 9 months ago. So I think they come in like wanting this game very badly. And I was looking at your last game. I think one of the keys for the Grizzlies going into this, and I'll get to like the more important keys, this would probably be number 5. I don't know why I'm starting with the number 5 key, but keeping this team off the line. You guys shot 92% from the free throw line in your last game. Cole Anthony himself had 9 for 10. So I think going in, it's like, do not foul these guys. And then both teams in the bottom 5 in the league in 3-point like production of 2022 is let them shoot threes.
Yeah, really. And I mean, it's kind of funny because I was looking at that stat too. I was like, oh, both these teams not great from behind the arc, but it's something that Jamal Mosley, our head coach, also like pushes to. Like, he wants them to take those shots. Like, he wants us to take those threes. And some nights those shots fall and some nights they don't. And he's usually not mad at like the shot selection. So it's funny too, because then I think our last 5 games, like Franz Wagner and Gary Harris are both like 50% from the 3. And Gary Harris specifically from the corner 3, like that's his spot. So those are 2 guys, at least if you're looking at it from a defensive angle for you guys, those are 2 guys you really need to watch from behind the arc. Chuma Okeke can get really hot from the 3, as well as Terrence Ross if he's like having a good night. Like, Terrence Ross could be really dangerous if it's falling for him, and if it's not falling for him, you'll see that he won't get as many minutes. Like, it's just kind of like, it is what it is. But yeah, 3-point shots, while they're not our best, that's also what we take a lot of too.
It's so funny to hear you say that, because Coach Jenkins, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, one of his main like things that he likes to say is LMF, and I will let you fill in the M, but it is let it fly. Or the M. The M's the swear word, but he says let him fly. So what he likes them shooting a lot of threes too. He's like, if you're open, shoot it. So I think that's also a big thing, because it opens up the floor, allows someone like Ja Morant on our team to be able to get to the paint. And again, we look at things that the Grizzlies are leading in the league. It's points in the paint, it's fast break points, it's rebounding. Whereas a lot of those are what the statistically Orlando Magic are not so great at. But again, you said it's hard to look at your team stats on the season when you know that the leader in Cole Anthony was out for a significant amount of games. So if you look at fast break points, for example, the Grizzlies are 1, the Magic are 23, but I don't think that's indicative of what this team is when they have that leader.
Yeah, it's so true, especially within the last like week and a half. Like we've really have like started to find our stride in the last like 2 weeks or so. So like even having like Mo and Dell back like in the post, like those two together work so beautifully together if they're on it like that night. Like Wendell, great at getting boards, he's someone to look out for. And like when Dell's in the post, like Mo will shoot out to the 3, like just to like open it and like spread the defense out a little bit. So I really don't think our stats are very, like you were just saying, like very indicative of our season, especially within the last like 2 weeks or so, where our defense, I think in our last like 7 games, we've had one of like the top 10 defenses within the last like 2 weeks, which like when you look at it statistically, you're like, there's no way. But 2 weeks and like 6 games can make a huge difference in comparison to 50 plus games that you've been playing this season, especially when we've had so many guys come in and out off injury and just also like safety protocols. Through that about a month or so ago. So this team currently, you almost don't know what to expect with them any given night. Like on Tuesday when we were playing Chicago, we had beat them a week prior and it was just a poor defensive performance for us. Like it really was as simple as that. Like if we had gotten more rebounds and we didn't foul as often, we would have won that game. Like it, plain and simple. But then come back Wednesday, second night of a back-to-back against the Pacers, and we were able to like pull it together. Gary Harris was in the huddle kind of being like, hey, remember last night? Let's not let that happen. Like these are the plays we should be running. And we got the win, and it was win 4 out of 6 games. Like, so a lot is going right for us right now, but it really just depends on how we start the game as to whether we're going to win it or not.
Yeah. So this Magic team, like you said, they've won, I guess 4 of their last 5 now, right? Or 3 of their last 4. You guys have been playing really well in the last like week or so. And you mentioned rebounding again, the Grizzlies lead in that category, but Wendell Carter Jr. averaging more than 10 rebounds per game is going to come up against a Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson Jr. What do you like about that matchup?
I really like, it's so interesting because we played earlier in the season, I believe. Yeah. So the thing with like Dell is he playing Chicago, he has a chip on his shoulder. So that's when you really see him like come out high on like the statistic end. But even just in general, he's been really good about watching film and like breaking everything down and trying to figure out like everyone else's like weaknesses. While you guys are so strong getting boards, that I think is going to be a great test to Dell. And that's what I'm really excited about, is for the fact that you guys are so strong in that category. This will be such a good matchup for him to see where he's at in terms of like trying to get better. Like that's really like, that's what I'm excited about when it comes to that matchup. It's like, all right, yeah, let's put it to the test. Like you've been so hot the last like week and a half, like where are you at now when you're going up against the best team to do it?
Yeah. Yeah. And against someone who like can match height. So it's like Mo Bamba, Steven Adams, Wendell Carter Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr. Like these are some big guys. And the thing that the Grizzlies are so good at rebounding wise is that they've got 2 guys who are literal massive human beings. And usually you go up against one. You guys are not that case. And also I'm looking at our box score and I don't think we've played this year. Like, are we, it's just because last season was so short.
I know. I thought for some reason, I thought we did play you guys already this season, but maybe I'm tripping.
I know. Maybe we're fantasizing about last season. It's been so long since I talked to you, Mackenzie. Hello.
I know.
Yes.
This again.
Pardon?
It just means that we get to do this again.
Yes, perfect. Okay, let's end with you give me your 2 players. If a Grizzlies fan is watching and we have not seen Orlando this season, give me 2 players that you need to watch out for who, if they have good games, you guys win. If they don't have good game, it's a no-go.
Number 1, Franz Wagner, like for sure. Like he's obviously one of our rookies. He has just been steadily getting better. He was the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month back in December. And he's a guy, like if he is on his game that day, like you're not stopping him. Like he is letting the game getting to him. He knows how to read. Like it's really his intangibles more than anything that makes him so good. But like the boy can score, like for sure. So that's someone to watch out for. I think Cole Anthony is an obvious one, so I'm not going to say
Okay.
Cole Anthony because we've already talked about. But then I would say Gary Harris, who's been coming off the bench for us since
22
we've
points
gotten
in the last game.
yeah, man, like he has been such a vet for us. And I'm so excited for him too, because like we obviously got him in the trade last year when we gave away like our big trades with like Vooch and AG and Evan. So getting him from the Nuggets, he obviously had such a stellar season back in like 2018. And so to see him finally get that back, especially on a team that's so young, and he thought he was on a good team with the Nuggets, so for him to like really step back into like what he's capable of has been really exciting. And like I said, him from like the corner three, that's what to watch out for.
Perfect. And that's someone who comes off the bench, which the Grizzlies have been outscoring like the other team's bench in their last few games. So this will be a really good test because you have such a good vet and a guy who can just straight out score. So that'll be a really cool test, kind of like of that second unit. So I love that selection. So for mine, I will also choose someone from the bench. Although it depends who plays tonight, I'm going to go with Brandon Clark. I think he could have a really big game off the bench for the Grizzlies. And then in my starter, it would be, again, too easy to say John Morant. So I'll go with Desmond Bane. Because him and Ja went 13 for 45 in the last game. Just wasn't like the performance that you'd want to have. And then other guys like Zaire and D'Anthony Melton stepped up. So I'm going to say that Desmond Bane has a little bit of a bounce back game. And so that is people to look out for. If you're Orlando, watch for those two. Mackenzie, thank you once again for the first time this season.
Yeah. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Yes. And Grizzlies fans, remember, it is an early tip. 4:00. You can watch it all on Bally Sports Southeast.